back to another how-to video again on this 2016 Fiat 500 Abarth. Sorry, too many Fiats in my life. Today we're going to be doing his E85 injectors and also the downpipe today on this car. And it is a normal downpipe on this one, so it still has its cat in there. And I'll play a little clip of how it sounds on the 2013 Abarth next to us. So we're gonna go from that noise, and today I'm gonna show you guys how to install the downpipe and all the tools that you'll need. It's not too hard. We are gonna try to reuse the old bolts on the manifold. We're gonna try to reuse those old bolts. Hopefully we can. If not, we'll have to go to AutoZone and get some new ones. I do recommend buying new ones anyway, but we'll try to save what money we can with this build. I'm gonna play a little clip too of how it sounds afterwards with the Catless downpipe. So it does sound pretty sick. It is going to be a lot more louder. Obviously in a daily run, I wouldn't recommend it. More for racetracks and stuff, especially being here in Cali. There's a lot of issues with that, but to do all that work and to make all that beautiful noise and power, we'll have to start by removing this battery, which is going to be a 10 to remove the battery terminals, and then a 13 to remove the battery tray. And we got this bolt right over here, which holds the lower well, it holds the main bracket of the battery in, right? So we're gonna be able to move the battery. This strut bar is not in the way, so we don't have to remove that one, thank goodness, because that means more work, more labor, which we're trying to avoid. And we don't want to take it all the way out unless we have to, but usually we're able to just take it out a little bit, scoot it back, and then pop this guy out. All right, take it out. Got our main battery out. Now we got to get our battery tray. It's going to be a few 13s inside. Alright, so we're not going to remove it completely out of the vehicle. Just enough to move it a little bit out of the way is all we need, so we can scoot out the downpipe right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take off the main bolts over here. Now this one isn't exactly in the way, but we do need to remove the O2 sensor. And in order to do so, we have to take off this turbo blanket that he has on the vehicle. Pop off these 13s. Alright, so right now we do have those little bolts off. Now we're going to be with the O2 sensor. This is why I put my hand back here, because we didn't want to cut it open like we did last time, and that happened right over this way. So we're just going to carefully get that sensor out. And you could use an O2 sensor tool, or if you have a monkey wrench laying around, it's probably going to be the best. And I told this kid not to drive his car. It's still relatively hot, but we're fine. Alright, just like that, we got our O2 sensor out. Looks like it's bad anyway, but you know, it's gonna happen with a lot of soot, a lot of daily driving, a lot of burning fuels. And then we're gonna have this V-band right here, and we're gonna have a 10mm down below, so kind of just see what else needs to be done on this blanket. Alright, now that we got this itchy blanket out of the way, yeah, I really hate working with fiberglass, guys. All in my finger, you can see it starting to flame up a little bit. Looks like, I'm glad that they did have a aftermarket intercooler on here already, that, you know, somebody else already installed it, because down below there's a little stud down here. That guy right there, basically It's one of the most annoying ones to get to, but you have to reach all the way down and get a 10mm in there. If you are running a factory intercooler, trying to take this off, good luck. Really just go all the way down and trying to see if you can get your 10 on there and get it out. Push pause from right here, and we're gonna start doing the other stuff right over here. So you guys can come right over this way. Now we're gonna be doing E85 injectors as well on this vehicle. So there's a lot of hoses, a lot of stuff from whoever put in the intercooler before. I believe it was a good friend, Little Devil. He did that. So we have our fuel rail all the way tucked down underneath all this cocoon of wires. So what we're gonna do first is gonna remove our first bracket, which is gonna be 2 10s right over here, and this 10 right over here. And that's gonna hold down all majority of like hoses, and it also holds the valve cover to the intake manifold. So we're just gonna take that bracket off and start digging in the back side, trying to remove that fuel rail. Alright, so now with this bracket kind of out of the way, we are gonna have to remove the fuel rail right here, the fuel rail hose. So it sits on this weird little band that clamps into place down here. I'm gonna remove the multi-air connectors. Basically, a lot of stuff is crispy under here because when the car does get hot, a lot of this stuff does get crispy. We're gonna remove this one, and then from there we're gonna have this main line right over here and pop this off, and then we're gonna have 1 and 2 torque bits underneath this rail area to remove the fuel rail. So let's just keep digging. Alright, so let's carefully wiggle this harness out of its little holder area. Alright, so now we've got our, we actually have an L key on here to fit the torque bits. So we're going to try to wiggle that in the hole. Alright, so you guys can see deep down inside right here, that little screw right there. So it's a little hard to get inside, but having to move all these crispy wires out of the way. Multi-air thing doesn't want to come off either, so instead of risking popping that one off and breaking it, having to go to the junkyard to get another, we're just gonna work around it and carefully get our fuel rail bolts off. Now comes the fun part, pulling the fuel rail out. One of the most confusingest ones ever. It's got 2 wings on it, and there we go. Like I said, we're gonna have some fuel coming out. Try to put it upside down just a little bit. But this one right here, basically you have the 2 blue, so you gotta push these guys back very carefully, and then push this in while pushing the back in, and then from there you'll be able to pop it out. So we're just gonna carefully push it back into place here so we do not lose this little locking clip. There we go, like that. Now we're able to move this guy around, and let's see here, this main thing out of the way. Alright, tucked out of the way kind of. If you are doing this, guys, do be careful. There's a lot of fuel inside of here. What we're gonna try to do is carefully remove each wire from the wiring harness right now without getting as much gas. We're probably gonna get a lot of gas in the area, but we'll try it up afterwards. So let's go ahead and try to disconnect these connectors. Okay. Okay. And the last one. Alright. Now, got our fuel rail. So small. And our new injectors are right here. Alright, so our biggest difference between E85 injectors and regular injectors is that our E85 injectors are going to be a little bit bigger, and bigger in the sense to where they're going to be shooting out a lot more fuel. So these little sprouts right here are going to be relatively bigger when shooting out corn fuel, in this case E85. So now we're gonna take off our injectors and put on these ones right over here.
Can I take it?
Alright guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and remove our fuel injectors from the rail. And if you are long-term viewers, you know I've done this before on my Fiat, and also I've done it before on the Toyota Avalon. It's gonna be really tight in there. We do have that little grommet we're gonna have to take out. That's our top piece. There you go. There's little O-rings in there. To get these off, basically, they're in by a metal clamp, and we want to be able to push this guy off like that. Try not to lose them. We know where that one went. This little rail has so much gas in it. It's not too bad though. It's gas, it'll evaporate. You burn it with the flame, it's clean again. It's not enough gas right here to set a whole ton on fire, so we're chilling. Go ahead and pop this one off again. Okay, come on. There we go. Just like that. And then our last one. And we don't want to lose these because these are important to put back on the vehicle. So go ahead and pop this guy off. Okay. Now just twist and pull. So these are going to be relatively stuck in here, guys, because obviously being in the vehicle for so long, the little O-ring is going to expand and shrink and expand and shrink and then become super tight. So just keep wiggling until you get them off, and I'll catch you guys when I get them out of the rail.
You want me to put her on the phone?
Hold on. Over here we do have our E85 injector, so a little bit smaller in length. So it's going to be sitting down just a little bit lower when it goes back into the vehicle. However though, it's a different shooting also when it goes inside the intake manifold. But we're going to put these guys back in just like this. And once we get our set all the way down, we're going to get our little clamps. And you don't want to put it in all the way. You still want to see that little tiny plastic lip right there. And we're going to get that set it down just like so. Just a little bit of push, it'll go right around and hold it down. Yeah guys, we got it in there. There we go, nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. You can see right back over here, all secure. So I'm going to repeat the process and I'm going to show you guys back inside the car. So right here you guys can see the main holes. They're really dusty in here. We're not going to be wiping anything down because we don't want to put any of that into the engine. So we're just going to full send it and put the rail inside and then get everything buttoned up. So just hang tight guys and watch me struggle putting this rail back in and tightening everything back down. Alright guys, just like that, we got both of the rails in, both of the bolts for the rails in, and it does look like it's pretty square. It doesn't look like it's sitting uneven. So now we're going to get our fuel injector plugs in. Gonna be these four guys right over here. So let's go ahead and push those guys down into the hole. There we go. There we go. Let's get this guy downward. Click. Then we can push the lock in. Click. Lock. And we got a couple more down here. Click. Lock. And our last one in the back. There we go. Got all those in there. Get our multi-air things plugged back in. Make sure I have fuel. I'm gonna unbuckle this guy real quick. Go underneath the water line. There you go. Click that back in. All these other straggling hoses that were in the way are okay. Now we need to get our bracket in there. And this one, we're gonna kind of just go over everybody. Or let's see here. Let's go like this. And evap hoses in the back. And now our bolts. So we have 110 right here for our valve cover one, and then we have 210s back over there. Alright guys, so we got our V-band off. As you can see, we're slowly unscrewing it now. And the best way to do this, when you get your 10 in there, after you get it finger loose, you want to just bang it a couple times so you can break it, because it is heat welded on there. So it's pretty much put on there with a lot of heat. Now we're going to go ahead and go downstairs and take the 13s down underneath. Alright, so right underneath here we're going to be doing those 10s again and getting all the 10s knocked off. And then we do have a 13 for the downpipe. So we'll see what's up. It's only a few 10s and I'll catch you guys when I get all this off. Alright, so we have to remove those two 13s. And then after that we're going to be able to remove these two 13s. Alright guys, so some news underneath. This is gonna happen. We have a very bad stripped bolt, so we're gonna either keep on trying or something, but a little bit of cutting, wiggle and jiggle, we finally were able to break that bolt down. Now let's see if we can get this baby out. On downpipe, at least this one doesn't have all those crazy things on there. It's gonna be simple. We're just gonna put it right in the hole. This one was really rough to get out. We had this stud right here in the way and all the other heat shield studs, but we did grinder that one cleanly off. It's the only way that we can do it. So now let's go ahead and get the gasket and manifold stuff buttoned up back up. Alright, so right when we hear the squeaks, we don't want to do too much because you will snap those little bolts. But now we're just going to put our O2 sensors, and the trick to it is you twist it the other direction, and once you do that, you'll be able to let it untwist back in the right direction. Got it in there. And I'm going to give it a nice little tug, tighten down. There we go, just like that. And we're going to finish up the bottom of the car right after. First we're going to get this battery tray. Alright, so right underneath we have our two bolts right over there and our exhaust. We're going to just mate it up right there and then put in these little black bolts. They'll come in this little case right here. It's about 25 bucks for that whole entire box of bolts. But let's go ahead and get that thing bolted up. I don't know. That got a little scary. That's one. Alright. No. Alright, what seemed like it took forever, we got two 13s on the top and the bottom, so now we just have to hold it down, tighten it up, and then it'll be all buttoned up. I'm gonna skip the process of me tightening this up, guys, for the sake of the time frame here, and catch you guys when I get everything all bolted up. So that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Like I said, basically, I know everything's buttoned up, kind of just hard to hurry up, get some lunch in real quick. You're gonna need the 13, 10s, and maybe some good old elbow grease to get everything off. We did have to go and cut that bolt off, like I said earlier, and I hope you guys enjoyed some content today. If you guys have any questions, comments, or anything like that, comment down below, let me know. And yeah, as always guys, stay safe and stay chill.